Okay, welcome, Dzień dobry, nice to meet you. So actually, thanks a lot, Boris, again, at least for having me as a guide for the last 2 days and for the invitation to be here at the Shopware United Days Poland. I'd like to do a short introduction. My name is Yann Karl. I'm CTO of webweit. We are a Shopware Gold partner from Germany, and we're doing Shopware projects for almost 10 years now. We started with 3.5, actually, a while ago. Personally, I'm a software developer for more than 20 years. I've done my first e-commerce projects in the late 90s, and yeah, actually got stuck with e-commerce back again for a few years now. So on top of this, I'm also, I had the honor to join the board of Shopware United a few months ago, and this is actually a great opportunity to do more community work, and also one of the reasons I'm here today. So what I'm presenting today is a case study. It's one of the projects that we have done in the last few months, and it's about building a scalable cross-border B2B portal for one of the largest tire and wheel wholesalers in Europe. Let me introduce the customer. It's called Interpneu. It's a wholesaler for tires, wheels, and accessories. They actually cover a broad range of products when it comes to cars, motorcycles, and commercial vehicles of all different types. Besides that, they are selling the known brands like Bridgestone, Pirelli, Hankook, you name them. They have also their own brand, Platin, for tires and wheels. And actually, they have a huge stock with more than 1.3 million tires and 300,000 light metal wheels available in stock at any time. On top of this, usually small and large orders all over Europe are shipped between 24 up to 72 hours after the order, and they ship to more or less any country in the world. I mean, you can guess getting a lot of tires to the Seychelles might be a problem, but besides that, they do business all over the world. Let's start with some numbers, because usually, from my experience with Shopware projects, this is quite an interesting topic. We started with 120,000 products that are available for sale, so it's real availability. So those products have a price, they can be searched in the shop, they can be found, they have a stock, they have product information available, so it's real products that you can order. On top of this, we have around 100,000 debtors, or users in this case, which actually have, on top of that, their own contact. So the actual number of live users on the system is probably 3 times higher than the 100K. And yeah, to have some more fun, we have 11 million prices for those 120,000 products. So it started to be a challenge in the very beginning. What I'd like to start with is a flashback. This is the current solution that Interpneu is using. And yeah, usually what you can see is it's not so fresh, it's not responsive, you can't use it with a mobile phone, but it should not be underestimated. It was a custom-built application. It has a ton of huge features that were specifically built for the customer. And in the beginning, we had the requirement that we not only have to take over all the existing functions for acceptance reasons, because customers don't want to have something less worth than before, we also need to add more value to the application so that it really has an interest for the retailers to be used. Let's quickly check out the architecture that we have here. For sure, it's Shopware. That's the basis for the e-commerce structure. We have SAP as an ERP tool. It covers everything related to order management, customer account handling, pricing, stock options, order status updates, tracking. Everything is connected between Shopware and SAP. Also, we have PIM Core as the PIM solution, and we have some more interfaces to the outside world. In this case, it's EDI Wheel, for example. It's an industry standard for tire resellers to exchange stock and warehouse informations and to do some drop shipping in addition. Quickly, basic features. For sure, it's a B2B project, so what do you need? You need an ERP interface and you need a PIM interface. But for the PIM project, I think we have a nice presentation later, so I will not go more into detail on that topic. But for us, that's actually the basis and stuff that you always have to do when dealing with B2B projects of any kind. Actually, it was a bit troubling for me when it comes to cross-border features on how to display them. So it looks nice, or it's something that we can work with. And I actually went with that map and the statement, it's for customers from any country to customers in any country. And what do I mean by that? Actually, what we implemented here is a complex shipping matrix and VAT handling solution, completely based on the Shopware standard functionality that gives us the option to handle more or less any thinkable combination of customer location and shipping address. Since For sure, we have the German customers buying for their German addresses. That's a simple thing to do. Sometimes they have a bad ID, sometimes they don't. That's not really complicated. On top of this, they have, for example, Polish, French, Italian customers who order stuff in their specific country. So it either matches if it's inside EU, outside EU, that's also not that big of a deal. But in our case, it can also be that a customer from the UK, for example, sends stuff to Dubai because he made a great deal there and he just needs a huge load of tires to be transferred. And actually the solution that we made covers all those different combinations in terms of shipping costs, VAT handling, and everything that's necessary to actually do the fulfillment process. And on top of this, we have actual full transparency for the customer. So on any item that's in the cart, you have a list of the additional shipping costs that you get, like stuff like minimum quantity surcharge, the shipping cost itself, island surcharges, if, for example, you are sending to places that are not so easy to get to. And on top of this, and you see this here with a 20% VAT because it's a French customer, we handle the taxes completely, no matter how the interaction or the structure of the company looks like. And this is completely transparent to the client, so they always see what they have to pay and why. For sure, we have some more B2B features or interesting features, like a search engine, for example. Searching for tires is quite a specific thing because you definitely you need to find the tires that matches the requirements of your car in terms of speed index, load index, whatever is necessary so that they match the specific type. And what we implemented here on the basis of Shopware 6 and Elasticsearch is there is something we call a match code. This is how usually people search when looking for tires at a retailer store. It's a combination of sizes, diameters, load index, speed index, and with the custom implementation that we have done here, we parse this part of the search term and we match it to the properties of the corresponding products. So as you can see here, the first number, the 225, it's the width of the product. We see we only have products with the matching width. The same for the diameter and all of the other properties that are used, so we can ensure all the time that in this very specific area where you cannot put any tire on any car, that's just not, due to legal restrictions, not available, you can really find the exact type of tire that you need. On top of this, as usual, or at least from our perspective on B2B projects, we had to do a lot with the permission management. Since we are basing on the B2B suite, the B2B suite usually in Shopware behaves in a way that the debtor decides what roles and permissions they hand over to their contacts. In our case, it's a bit different. Since when a new debtor gets registered at Interpneu, they gave him a certain set of permissions because not everyone is selling motorcycle parts, for example. Not everyone is selling commercial vehicles and stuff like this. So first, when the debtor gets created, whoever is in charge of the sales management at Interpneu assigns a certain set of permissions and roles for this debtor, and then this debtor can, for his specific users, assign which rights and permissions they can use internally. So it depends who is using the system, what they can see and what they can do, and this is a certain set that we defined in the first place. Then there is one story I'd like to tell, and this is what we really call the sum up of the end-to-end process, because what we have seen so far is more like covering the B2B process. Someone buying something for his specific country in a B2B related thing, net pricing and whatever. But we have something on top of it, and we call it the end customer advisor. I think most of you were in the situation that you had to buy a tire for your car. Probably that's pretty common nowadays. And imagine the situation that you need new tires. What do? You do go to your local dealer, your local garage, and you ask the guys, hey, I need new tires, what do you do? And then they open up, probably not visible for you, their internal system shop, whatever, they check prices, and they tell you something, yeah, okay, I can do it for 150 euros a piece, and come back tomorrow, and I will have the stuff. And in our case, they can get one more step. And this is what we call the switch button. And then the view changes into what we call the end customer view. And this is actually what you can show to the customer sitting right in front of you looking for a new tire for his car. The thing is, For example, we changed the logo in the upper left. So it's not the Interpnoy store anymore. It's your local store of the retailer that you are sitting next to. Also, we changed prices based on a calculation matrix that I will display later. And this gives the option for the retailer to sit together with his client. So they can really together check out what would be a good option for the tire to choose for your car. Since this is actually a pretty interesting and long process. And we have another tool integrated here, which is called the tyre configurator. And it gives you the option to really figure out, first of all, what options of car types and tires you have. So you can identify your car by either use some ID information from the papers, or you can choose the manufacturer. And it goes through several steps where you can select the manufacturer, the type. So first of all, you find out, okay, what type of car are we dealing with to limit the set of available products. Then, this nice display of the car, you can select the rims that you want to use. You can select several rims because maybe you're not sure if you want the nice black one or the shiny silver ones. And you can just check out how they look on your car. Everything together with your retailer. After that, you have the selection of the tire, because maybe you want some tire that was tested before and had a nice test because it's good in winter or for rain or whatever. And then usually the system also adds something like, for example, the pressure sensors, if your cars require them, so you don't have to care for all this stuff. As long as you know which car you use, and this can be get by the papers, you don't have to take care about the details. You can always be sure that what is capable of selecting here can be put up onto your car, and all the pieces necessary will be shipped when the stuff is ordered by the retailer. After that, you have a cart, including whatever you have chosen. And then it's not even necessary that they order it directly. They can create an offer for you as the client. And this offer contains for sure your base information, like your name and your address and how long this is valid, for example. And in addition, they can also add their custom services, like changing of the tires, cleaning up your car, doing some small repairs, whatever is necessary and makes sense to do in the same step, like changing the tires. And this offer can be then finalized and stored in the account of the retailer. And on top of this, they hand you over a PDF that contains all the information. You can take it with you, think about it 2 days or however long you take to decide which rim or whatever you need. And then you can get back to the retailer and say, hey, come on, that's what the offer and I want to have it right now. And in addition, we do recalculations all the time. So if you keep the offer for, let's say, 2 weeks, and the validity was yesterday, and you get there, he will check the prices again, and he either tells you, okay, the prices didn't change that much, I can still keep the offer, or you need to pay a small surcharge, or even get a discount if the prices got lower because of some special offer of any kind. On top, or this is all based on the calculation matrix. So every retailer that uses this tool has the option to first define the rounding type, because as you already know, when handling price calculations, it's not nice to have 67 in the end or 55 or whatever. So you can choose the rounding type so that you always have nice and clean numbers. And you have different calculation types that you can choose from. It starts with simple calculations that you can have. So like basic percentage, addition, or always 20 euro on top, and you can also really bring it down to the specific type. So a 15-inch tire can have a higher surcharge than a 19-inch tire, or the other way around. So the retailer has the full flexibility to use this tool to really communicate and calculate with the end customer on a daily basis. So let's do a short roundup of the process. What have we done with Shopware? Cross-border shipping and VAT. As already displayed. We integrate the shipping matrix as it's provided by SAP, and it's completely transparently showing everything necessary to the customer when they are trying to acquire the product. On top of that, and this is something that I didn't show yet, we have country and language specific sales channels. So it's not like usually you have the German shop and it has some translations and some currencies, but it's still the German shop. No, in this case, we really have country specific sales channels which are built upon all the rules and all the strategies needed to cover the specific country needs. And it's scalable, so it doesn't matter if they might open up a new department somewhere else, we can just add this on top of the current installation. integration. So we can more or less manage all the needs necessary to doing business with any kind of customer in any different country. Then we have for sure B2B process enhancements, as already told. I mean, we still use the Shopware B2B suite as a basis, but we added some functions that can be used for the customer for internal use and also for handling the B2B process in general. Then we for sure have custom pricing. I mean, 11 million prices is quite a thing to do, especially when you have daily updates of the whole price list. So there we had some improvements to do on Shopware, but it works in the end, and this is what counts. Then we have end customer relation features like the end customer advisor that I just displayed. So it's a really end-to-end process that we have here. It's not only limited to the B2B process and its parts. And as already said, we have a scalable architecture. Right now, this works in a single Shopware instance with the different sales channels, but depending on the usage or further requirements, we are always capable of splitting that up into different setups, for example, if necessary. Then let's add a roundup on the technical side. It's Shopware 6 Enterprise. Also, we use the B2B suite from Shopware as basis for all the B2B functions. Then we also have some store plugins. So just to tell that there are store plugins that you can use on enterprise projects of that size. For sure, you need to check the code and check if it works with the customizings that you have done. But the Shopware store really provides some great products that can be used in a project like this. We use Elasticsearch for all the search engine optimizations. For sure, we mangled around with the indexer, and we also did some custom search criteria handling. But everything is still based on the libraries and the functionalities that Shopware brings with us. So we didn't change the component completely. We changed a bit the behavior, but the basis is still how Shopware works. And this is actually a great thing to do. And yeah, for sure, we did customizing with the plugin system to add all the additional features to the store. But most of the stuff we could do by really just extending the Shopware features as they are. Do we have perspective? Sure we have. For everyone who has maybe seen the keynote from the SCD, Shopware is planning a lot of new features when it comes to workflows and pricing. And we are actually in contact with them that we have the option to take those features into projects like this in the future so that we can remove more of the custom built stuff that we have and replace it with Shopware standard features that are part of the product itself, which eases up update functionality, and you can just be more or less future safe for whatever you do. So this is it. Thank you for the time at first. I also want to tell that I brought some of my colleagues with me. Maybe you can shortly wave, guys. So if you want to talk to someone, you want to have some exchange, you have questions later, you want to talk about Shopware, you want to talk about B2B projects, about community building, I'm really happy to have any kind of conversation on that topic. And thanks for listening. And questions?